All right, today is an exciting day. I have a little bit of an update, and then I have some new parts I'm going to install. I finally, after about 6 or 8 months, got some parts that were missing off the fairing that I bought. So this is just a dark horse, but I like the fairing from the Sport Chief, so I bought that. But it was missing this gasket in here, and it was also missing a bracket that pushes the headlamp a little closer to the fairing. Anyway, I think it looks a lot nicer with that on, and so I'm happy about that. But today I'm going to install, hopefully, some new handlebars. So I got this 5-inch, I think they call a mid-rise mini ape, and you have to purchase the extension kit separately. My dealer was going to charge $350 to install, so I figured I'd just do it myself. See if it's not too bad. The other thing I'll do is I'll take a video here, just kind of showing how I fit generally. I decided to do this because I finally put in probably, I don't know, a good 4 or 5 hours this past weekend. I went to the MotoGP race at Circuit of the Americas, and the bike was super comfortable with the comfort seat. Didn't have any problems there. But it is a little bit uncomfortable leaning forward. I'm a tall rider, and I like the look of the drag bars. I think it looks clean like that. I'd rather not change out the bars. But from a comfort standpoint, I think it'll make a big difference just having my arms up a little bit. I went both days to MotoGP, and the first day I took my FTR, and that bike is so fun to ride, but you got about an hour max until your butt starts to hurt. So the second day I took this and no problem, 2 hours, easy peasy, and it was really comfortable to ride, and a fun, fast bike. So anyway, next I'll show you how I fit, and I'll do the install. I'll probably do a few videos on pointers on the install, because I didn't find any videos on how to do the install. I think most I'm worried about is trashing the grips. But other than that, and probably routing some of the wires, I'm not really sure about all that. But I'll figure it out, and I'll give you guys some pointers. I'm about 6'2", 220. I just want to give you an idea of how I fit on the bike with just the stock drag bars. I'm about to start this install. I don't have time to do video editing, so what I'm going to do is just make a bunch of short clips and then just fade them together and give my input on some of these steps. It does look like it's going to be more involved than I thought, and it might be a little bit more difficult because of that fairing in the way. So the first thing you got to do is take the seat off, which is pretty easy. Just one bolt and then it slides right off. And then take this cover off. And then you have to remove the tank for this because the line runs along the frame, and that part's gonna be a little bit tricky because you have to reach these screws that are kind of hidden back here that have a couple brackets, one on each side, and then unplug the quick connect for the fuel line and the vent line, and then you have to disconnect the wire for the fuel pump. So I'm gonna get started on that and go from there. That wasn't too bad. Just took a few minutes. There was a couple things that I didn't anticipate, but not that bad. There's this trim piece right here on top of the tank. It has some wires connected to it. I think this is for the transponder, for the key. And since it's kind of taken apart, I decided to get a bucket with a rag and some soap and to clean things that I'll probably never see again. And then I just covered the bike with some old towels, so make it a little bit easier not to scratch things. Next step is to take the clutch cable off, which is not too bad. You just taking this nut off and then releasing it and unbolting it. And then next you have to take the brake line off, and I think that's going to be a little bit tricky in that you do have to remove the entire thing, and so I suspect I'm going to lose a little bit of fluid here. And that's pretty much it. That's the next step. That wasn't too bad. I did set up a rag here just in case I got some brake fluid to spill or to so it doesn't fall on the painted surfaces. There was a little bit that came out, wasn't too bad, less than I thought. This is about how much came out of the reservoir, and then that was in the line, the brake line there. So not too bad. Next step is to remove these lever assemblies and go from there. All right, this part is a little bit tricky. It's the left-hand side assembly, and it's just a little bit tricky because these connectors are kind of hard to get to. I didn't realize you could. There's two places you can loosen up this assembly. And once you loosen up the second part, you can gain access to this side. But on this other connector, there's a little tiny tab in there, and I think you need a pick tool just to push down on that to loosen it to get it out. All right, that's all done. Next step is to remove the grips. And this is the part I'm most concerned about. This should be pretty easy. Yeah, I think it'll just slide right out. And then the other one, I think it's going to be the tricky side because there's adhesive in here. And I mean, I've been looking online. It looks like if I can get a little bit of leverage under here, get a small screwdriver or something, and get some brake cleaner in there to break the adhesive, that might be the easiest way. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, here we go. Removing the throttle control was a little bit tricky because the connector was slotted up in here. So I had to pull some slack and then push the tube in to get a little more slack on this end so I can get the connector out. Once I did that, I was able to access and get that out. So not too bad. Well, just like I thought, that sucker is hard to get off. So I decided I'm going to quit while I'm ahead and not damage it, and get the handlebar off and maybe use some soap and water once I can get it in a sink or something like that. If I still can't get that sucker off, then what I'll do is probably just upgrade and get some different grips. So I was looking at them anyway. I just didn't want to buy them from Indian because they were like $100 or something ridiculously priced. Anyway, next step is to remove the handlebar, and that requires taking off the wiring harness. So taking this off, disconnecting everything, and basically freeing up the handlebar from all the wires so they can be removed. Alright, got the handlebars off, and wasn't too bad. I finally was able to disconnect this because I had access then to behind here, and it looks like, I think it's a GPS transponder actually. But anyway, I just disconnected it to get it out of the way. And the instrument panel here was on the handlebar pretty tight, so I had to use a dead blow hammer to gently knock it off. That's pretty much it. From here on out, just going to do everything in reverse. Fish the wires back through, get them through the handlebars, and just kind of work my way backwards. Just wanted to give you an idea of the handlebar size, or the difference between the two, from the drag bar to well, this is the mid-rise. I think it comes standard on the bobber, but it looks like it's really not going to be that much of a difference. It might be a couple inches higher up, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope it's a better fit and a little more comfortable, but it doesn't look like much of a difference because this handlebar looks like it slopes down a little bit, and the drag bar looks like it slopes up a little bit. So anyway, we'll see. Got the new handlebar on. Fishing the wires was pretty easy through the handlebar, not too bad at all. There are some it's indexed, so you know where to put the handlebar, but I actually sat on the bike and kind of fit it to my size. One tip here is these connectors are kind of big, and they don't fit very well through the fork here, or where it's bifurcated. So I disconnected this harness so I can feed it through a little bit easier. It just took a couple minutes. Made it a lot easier to get these big connectors through this little area here. So anyway, now I just need to give it enough slack so it can turn, and on to the next step. Alright, I finally finished, and everything went pretty smooth except for I couldn't get that left grip off, so I left it off for now. I'll either try to get it off later on, or I'll just buy another set. I'm not really sure. That whole thing took me about 4 hours. It wasn't too bad. I just I took a few breaks, and if I had to do it again, I'm sure I could do it quicker. I thought it was gonna be hard to get that tank back on, but it wasn't too bad. Um, Other than that, I think I showed all the challenging parts. You do have to bleed the brakes, so if you've never done that, it just requires a vacuum tool. So that was pretty simple. That's pretty much it. I'll show you how I fit on the bike and give you my impression. I like that. It feels a lot better than the drag bars, and I think the height of it's just right. I didn't want the bars to be too much higher than the windshield, and I think they're right at the top there, so I think it still gives it kind of a nice line with the rest of the bike and the sissy bar. So I'm really happy with it. I think I haven't done a ride on it yet, but I'm gonna do that right now. But so far, I think it feels perfect. I mean, could go a little bit higher maybe, but I think I made the right choice. I don't regret getting the mid riser as opposed to the 6 or the 8-inch mini apes. So anyway, that's it. I just went for a quick ride, just a 20-minute ride or so, and my initial impressions are I love it. I think it's great. I think it doesn't take away from the looks of the bike or the aesthetics. I think it still looks good. I do like how it's kind of at the top of the windshield. But I think the ergonomics are just right for me. I think I got it dialed in with the forward pegs, the comfort seat, and then the mid-rise handlebars that come on the bobber. But anyway, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Cost, I mean, it's about $350, 4 hours of time. Not too bad. Obviously, I wish the bike could come like that, but such is life. But that's the beauty of these bikes. You can customize them however you want. I think bikes I like, he did that to his bike as well, but he did the higher mini apes, and I think he's happy with those too. So I think it just depends on the rider and your comfort level. So anyway, I would do it again, and really happy with it, and I hope this helps somebody.